Okay, guys, this is a story I've been wanting to do a video about. I was talking to some of you guys about it the other night. This is the girl, Naomi, who her best friends threw acid in her face. And I'm going to go through a couple of different what do you call? A couple of different things of information here on this, because there's a lot really to cover. So I'm going to cover as much as I can, so you guys, can get as much information as I can find. This is her story. Her name is Naomi-Oni. Okay. A woman who was scarred for life after having acid thrown in her face by a friend has spoken out for the first time about being betrayed. Naomi-Oni suffered horrific burns and was nearly blinded by the attack when she was ambushed by a jealous friend as she stepped off a bus just after Christmas in 2012. The 25-year-old was attacked by Mary Coney, who disguised herself by wearing an Islamic outfit and followed her home from Westfield Shopping Center in Stamford, East London. Now, 5 years on since the horrific attack, courageous Miss Oni has spoken out for the first time of how it changed her life forever. A new BBC Three documentary on acid attacks has revealed Coney sent sympathetic messages with Miss Oni immediately after the attack while police were still hunting for the perpetrator. She even attended a birthday party for the victim. I thought she was my friend and I couldn't understand why she did what she did, Miss Oni tells. Okay? Now, we were discussing this as well the other night about no matter how long you know somebody, you really do not know this person. Okay? To be betrayed for someone to lead you to your own destruction, I was heartbroken. It comes amid a spat of acid attacks in the capital. On Wednesday, a 26-year-old woman suffered life-changing burns to her face and leg when she was sprayed with acid while walking through East London. No arrests have been made, and the Metropolitan Police are reviewing CCTV images. Miss Oni was so badly burned that she had to have facial reconstruction surgery twice. Doctors had to use skin from her thighs to rebuild her face, as well as skin from behind her ears to create new eyelids. Okay? That's how bad she was burned. Okay? Speaking of the attack, she said, I looked to the side of me and I remember seeing someone in just black. And the person's face being covered. There was a very cold stare, and I remember thinking, whoa, okay, just cross the road and go to your house. Before I knew it, I felt a huge splash, and I immediately screamed. I was running down my road. I remember banging on the door, screaming, it's burning, acid, acid. Okay? I'm just saving some pictures here, guys, to add with the story. I'm just going to get right back into it. Just bear with me. The door was opened by Miss Oni's horrified mother, who froze with shock. She added, I thought my skin was dissolving like I was going to, just corrode away. Keone was eventually jailed for 12 years for the horrific attack after police reviewed CCTV footage showed a woman in the Islamic clothing following Miss Oni. She had known her attacker since school and believed she may have carried out the assault out of jealousy over her fair skin and complexion, which can be regarded as more beautiful in some African and Asian countries. I don't think it's true, but that was probably a big thing for her. Okay. Just such a heinous, so sad that, you know, people would do this to their friend, you know, their so-called friend. But like I say, we never know anybody. A brave attack victim has vowed to keep posting selfies as she refuses to be downtrodden by jealous friends who was hell-bent on destroying her looks. Mary Keone disguised herself in Muslim attire and stalked Naomi back to her Essex homes when she left work at Victoria's Secret in December of 2012. The childhood friend doused Miss Oni in concentrated sulfuric acid, leaving her scarred for life and racked with depression and anxiety. Okay? Miss Oni retained as a makeup artist and learned to love the person I am, and now regularly posts defiant selfies on social media to inspire other victims. Okay? She's finally getting to the point where she could take pictures of herself and feel okay about them. Miss Oni explained that Coney trying to ruin her face was the ultimate thing she could do. The brave survivor who lives in South London went back to her job at Victoria's Secret after the attack, but worked in the stockroom instead of the main floor, too insecure about her looks. They are low times, but I am trying to get on it, she told the Daily Mirror. I realized I had to stop feeling sorry for myself. I had to get to a stage where I have got to know myself and love the person that I am now. Okay? Refusing to hide her scars, features, Miss Oni said she was determined to get back on social media. Posting selfies was liberating. It was like reaffirmating to get the comments and the likes. I do it to inspire people and show no matter what people are going through, they can overcome it. Miss Oni, who has been single since the attack, is still in the midst of long recovery. I would think this would be something you'd still be recovering from forever. You know, just the simple fact of always looking behind you, and always afraid of somebody coming up behind you, or, you know what I mean? It's not just the looks. It's the fact that, you know, you can't even walk down the street anymore without in the back of your head, you know, that coming to your head, you know, like coming to your conscious mind. She will have a 5th round of laser surgery next week and has skin from her knee removed and grafted onto her face. She has also had her eyelids replaced, and last year had her skin on her scalp extended so that her hairline could be pulled forward. She has had skin removed from her knee, grafted her face, and needed her eyelids replaced. Miss Oni said that her attacker was obsessed with her, attempting to steal her boyfriend before deciding to destroy her while speaking in 2014. I guess that wasn't enough. She said her friend copied her clothes and hairstyle, even mimicked the way she spoke, her laugh, and her walk. She told the Sun, if I wrote text, spoke, laughed, or walked in a certain way, she'd do it too. And she'd say, I look just like you, don't I? Remember when I tell you people to look for red flags? That right there is a red flag, okay? If a person is mimicking you and saying, oh, I look just like you, don't take that as a joke. Take that seriously, like this person, you need to watch out for this person, okay? Meaning that they could be capable of anything, So just keep that in mind, okay? If police hadn't caught her, I'm sure she would have gone on to kill. Miss Oni suffered serious burns to her face, chest, lost her hair and eyelashes, and required skin graft surgery to cover her burns. Her friend's obsession with her began when they were 11 years old, but in April of 2011 they fell out, and Naomi discovered that her friend was trying to steal her boyfriend, sending him anonymous texts claiming that she was sleeping with other men. Miss Oni said, "She had copied my entire life, now she wanted my boyfriend." Giving evidence in court, Naomi described how on her way home she got off the bus stop and felt a presence before turning to see someone in Islamic gear. She felt a massive splash of acid thrown on her, disfiguring her face, dissolving her hair and eyelashes, burning her tongue as she screamed. Describing how she felt after the attack, she said, "Am I a bad person? Why has this happened to me? I work hard. No one's going to marry me now." Okay? I guess she was very, not vain. I don't want to use the word vain, but I'll use the word that she was very, we'll use the word self-confident here, okay? And her friend obviously knew that, so she knew exactly what to do to truly ruin her life. Naomi also revealed that when she told her alleged attacker what happened, her friend texted back, "Oh my God, I can't believe it." She also cried down the phone and offered her support. Naomi said in court, "I just had my bandages removed, and it was the first time I saw my face after surgery, and I broke down, and I had spoken to Mary that night, and I was crying on the phone to her, and she was on the phone telling me, 'Don't worry, you'll be okay.'" She added, "I was still on the phone to my boyfriend, and I felt a presence. I turned to my left, and I saw someone in the Islamic clothing. I remember it facing me, staring me, a presence looking directly at me, and all I could see was eyes," which is when she was splashed with the acid. Mary Keone was born February 20th, 1992 in Newham, East London. Her father died when she was just 2, leaving her mother a single parent looking after her only child. The aspiring makeup artist was being chased by several admirers and rode with Keone about the attention she was getting. After Naomi fell pregnant, she confided in her friend that her boyfriend at the time was not being supportive. Keone told him to provide the support that Naomi needed, but Naomi was angered after learning that her friend had interfered with her relationship, and the pair fell out. 6 months later, they made up, but by then, Mary had told college friends at Southgate that she wanted to throw acid over Naomi and that she would wear an Islamic outfit to do it. The latest figures show that reported cases of acid attacks nearly trembled over 4 years, from 248 in 2012 to 720 in 2006. It comes as reality star Fern McCann's former partner Arthur Collins was arrested and charged with the intent to do grievous bodily harm in connection with the acid attack in the London night spot Mango last month. Around 20 clubbers suffered burns after being doused with the substance on Easter Monday, including a 22-year-old woman and a 24-year-old man who were both blinded. Okay? So here we're dealing with knife attacks, okay? And dismemberment. And over there, they're dealing with acid attacks. So, I mean, I don't know if that's going to switch up at some point. But we need to be careful regardless. It seems that these attacks are becoming more and more frequent as time goes on. This girl seriously has been through, something that I can't, probably none of us can imagine. And it's so sad because her friend Mary Coney was a really pretty girl, and I'm not sure what the fuck she was thinking doing this. It was so unnecessary, you know what I mean? It just wasn't necessary. Brutal attack left scars are apparent 5 years on. Naomi was left with third-degree burns, and doctors feared she would be permanently blind. Her beautiful face was ravaged, her eyelids seared away. She looked, as she now recalls in this interview, to coincide with BBC documentary about the attack, as if I'd melted. A young life full of hope and promise was shattered. You might imagine that such an event would have left Naomi, now 25, bitter and numb with rage. Not so much. With extraordinary grace and courage, she says she has forgiven her attacker, Mary, a young woman whom she had considered her closest friend, but who had been driven with jealousy by Naomi's looks, popularity, and bubbly personality. And the fact that they keep throwing her looks out there can only be more damaging to Naomi by them making it apparent that she was so beautiful, and now what is she? They don't say that, but they keep on bringing that up. Naomi says, I forgive her. I owe myself the freedom to move on, but I think she is callous, vindictive person, a complete coward who betrayed me. And while in the aftermath of the attack, the law student's boyfriend, Naomi may have drifted away today, she wisely says he was shallow. He just liked me when I was attractive. Okay? There have been no boyfriends since her long for career as a makeup artist has stalled. Companies that make their money from selling perfection appear reluctant to employ someone with the disfigurement that Naomi endures. Okay? Which is absolutely horrible, because what does what she looks like have to do with her makeup skills? Okay? People stare, says Naomi, but I'm learning to block them out. Since 2014, when 200 acid attacks were reported to police, the number has more than doubled, and the worst affected area in the borough of Newham, which includes Stafford's Olympic Park, Westfields, Dagenham, where Naomi then lived and worked. In the past 5 years, almost 400 of London's 1,500 reported attacks happened there. In the worst cases, acid attacks can be fatal, and fact reflected in the puntive 20-year jail sentence. Arthur Collins, 25, the ex-boyfriend of the Only Way in Essex reality star Fern McCann, received last month after hurling corrosive liquid across a club dance floor in East London with little thought of those in its way. Mercifully for Naomi, her sight slowly returned, but the restoration of her vision brought new trauma as she caught sight of herself in the hospital mirror. She contemplated taking her own life. I thought, I'm never going to look like myself again. I had no hair or eyebrows. My eyelids had burned off. I couldn't recognize myself. A slab of my thigh had been grafted to my face where my cheek had burnt away. I just couldn't take it in. I couldn't stop crying. I looked at this vision of my face in the hospital room and just slid down the wall. I didn't feel grateful I was alive. I felt angry, and I thought, what is the point of living? I thought about taking my life. But then I gathered myself. I imagined my mom's face and thought, I couldn't do it to her. I couldn't leave her like that. In bandages in the hospital burns unit, Naomi also grappled with the mystery of why she had been targeted. This was no attempt robbery, nor was there any clue about who the woman in the Islamic attire was. I concluded it was a crazy person that I was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Naomi, the beloved only child of Miriam, who had raised her single-handedly after her husband returned to live in his native Nigeria, had never been wayward or troublesome. She went to a strict Catholic convent school in Forest Gate, East London, and her bond with her mom was particularly strong because Miriam has albinism, which caused her sight to deteriorate. Mom always said I was her spare pair of eyes, and Naomi, I used to care for her. Okay? Here it says Naomi's longed for a career as a makeup artist, but with her disfigurement, she is not getting the opportunities that she used to get. Poised on the great adventure of life, Naomi dreamed of working as a makeup artist. She felt blessed with a boyfriend, a job she enjoyed, good friends, and not an enemy in the world, or so she believed. But the woman who disguised her identity by wearing traditional Muslim clothing was her best friend, Mary. A friend Naomi had known since they were both pupils at St. Angela's Ursuline School. Mary, now serving a 12-year sentence for the attack, for which she has shown no remorse. Naomi, meanwhile, still reels at her former friend's horrifying treachery. The night when it happened, December 29, 2012, is undeniably etched in her memory. She'd begun work at 7 p.m. It was her turn to do the late shift, but she was loath to go. We had a family gathering at home. My godmother, uncle, and several cousins had come over from Ireland, and Mum was cooking. I didn't want to go to work, and I didn't want to leave them all. But once at work, her co-worker she remembers laughing with them before they all dispersed to go home at 11:30. Naomi went to the tube from the Stratford to the West Ham, then Barking, where she caught a bus. It was late, so during the journey, I was keeping myself company by chatting with my boyfriend on the phone. She recalls, it was reassuring to talk to him. And then in a matter of seconds, her life changed. I got off the bus, still yakking away to my boyfriend, and was about to cross the road when I felt the presence. And that's when she was doused with the acid. Naomi's Aunt Nellie, a pharmacist, knew instantly what happened. She helped Naomi out of her clothes and washed her in the shower to dilute the potent effects of the sulfuric acid. Her mother called for an ambulance, and her uncle Charles rang the police. The ensuing days were a blur as Naomi, dosed with morphine, was taken first to London's Whitechapel Hospital and then to specialist burns unit at Bloomsfield Hospital in Chelmsford, Essex. They washed my eyes with saline and yellow mucus kept pouring out, she recalls. I drifted in and out of consciousness. I remember voices saying corrosive substance, badly burned. I couldn't see. They told my mom and my uncle, but not me, that the chances of me getting my sight back were very small. Throughout January of 2013, she remained in hospital. She underwent 2 skin grafts, and as I told you, the eyelids reconstructed from skin behind her ears, and her face was rebuilt with skin from her right thigh. My sight started to return. They recovered the windows and the mirrors so that I can catch a glimpse of my reflection. I saw a vague image reflected in my phone and thought, what? It wasn't me. My face wasn't burnt black, charred. I remember thinking, no one is ever going to marry me now. It's like death. The old Naomi was a fun, fashionable, giggy person. That person is now gone. I felt like I'd never blend in and girls or have a normal life again. Many times I thought about taking my own life. Since her discharge from the hospital, Naomi has undergone countless medical procedures to reconstruct her face, as well as grappling with awful truth that the culprit was someone she believed was her best friend, and compounded her cruelty by concern for the injured Naomi. In hindsight, Naomi realizes there had been clues to Mary's screwed trouble personality. Remember, I told you red flags. She was bullied at school, a bit of a misfit, and I took her under my wing because I also had been bullied. I accepted that the relationship was volatile. Mary would argue with me, but she had a troubled upbringing while I had a loving mother, so I always made allowances for her. Police had asked Naomi if she ever had been threatened if anyone had ever threatened to throw acid at her. Naomi racked her brain and memory was ignited. Back in 2011, after an argument, she recalled that Mary had made such a threat, but that she had dismissed it, and I kept believing that no friend of mine can possibly do that. In February 2013, Naomi celebrated her 21st birthday with a small party. Mary actually came flaunting herself in inappropriate boob tube and mini skirt, she recalls. It was as if she was saying, "Look at me and look at you." I told everyone, "Please don't cry for me. I want everyone to be happy," but Mary was the idiot who sat on the arm of my chair sobbing. I rubbed her back. She wrote in her card, "Happy birthday, beautiful. Love, Mary." Scotland Yard's homicide squad were now on Mary's case, tracking the movements of the mystery woman on the CCTV camera footage. They discovered she was carrying a handbag identical to the one Mary, who had allegedly been questioned by police, brought to the interview. The handbag was eventually found to have splashes of sulfuric acid on it. Okay? So this girl wasn't even smart enough to get rid of the bag. The evidence was enough to charge Mary, who was then at university, and in March of 2014, she was jailed for 12 years. Okay? So 2026, she'll be released from jail. If in court, she was defiant, making the preposterous claim that Naomi had thrown the acid on herself because she wanted the fame and fortune bestowed on acid attack victim Katie Piper as a TV presenter. Finally, she was compelled to admit that it was a monstrous lie. The court heard Mary was obsessed with Naomi and so jealous of her looks that she attempted to destroy them. But she has failed, for Naomi remains striking. There is too defiant beauty in her bravery and her determination not to be cowed by the tragedy, in the courage with which she faces the world each day. She has completed her course in makeup, and while she has been rejected from countless jobs, she will not give up. But when I look in the mirror, I do feel sad, she admits. I think a lot about what might have been and where I'd be today if I hadn't been attacked. When I look back at old photos of myself, I see an innocent girl with big dreams and aspirations, wanting to make her family proud. These are still days when I am unhappy, but I tell myself I'll overcome it. If something catastrophic can change a life in a second, then great things can happen too. After the attack, I thought no man would want me. What I've learned since is that the right guy will see beyond my scars. I've become a better judge of character now, she adds. I also know that the man who marries me will be lucky to have me. Absolutely. And I want to say that her story really did touch me. Watching the documentary, you can find on YouTube if you want to watch it, is very touching. Putting yourself in her shoes, taking just a little bit of our beauty or our normability, of being normal and not having any kind of disfigurement to our faces or body, or, you know, we take for granted every day. We wake up, we look in the mirror, we put our makeup on, and never think twice about something like that happening, you know, and our life being changed forever. So I do want to bring up the fact also that there were red flags as far as her friend Mary was concerned. And I always tell you guys to pay attention to your surroundings, pay attention to the people that you hang out with. Even the littlest comments, it could be stupid at the time, but if you get a feeling that something's off, pay attention to it. Okay? When Naomi had that feeling that she didn't want to leave her family that night, I believe that was her gut telling her to stay home. And she went against her better judgment because she had to go to work. So never go against your gut. If something tells you to stay home with your family or tells you not to go somewhere, listen to that, okay? And when you feel someone following you, okay, don't just chalk it up to your imagination. Don't just think that you're paranoid, okay? Pick up the phone, even though she was on the phone. But if you're on the phone with somebody, act like you're on the phone with the police department. Or if you're not on the phone, grab your phone and dial 911 and say, I believe I'm being followed. I'm on such and such a place. Please send somebody immediately. Even if you're not being followed and you were just being paranoid, I'd rather be safe than sorry. I'd rather have the cops come and calm me down than something like that happen. Try not to walk places by yourself late at night. Try to always have somebody with you if possible. And I know that's not always possible because we all have different schedules and, sometimes we can't have somebody with us. But try to if you can. And like I said, red flags, people. If somebody says something to you or you hear them say something like that, like, oh, I wish I could throw acid in her face, or I wish she'd get hit by a car, or, stupid shit people say. Take that shit as reality. Don't just chalk it up to as somebody talking shit. Because you never, ever fucking know with these people what people are capable of and what they're going to do and what they're not going to do. Okay? And in this case, Naomi's never going to feel the same way about herself as she did before. And I also want to chalk that up to the media because they constantly are bringing up the fact of how beautiful she was. And, calling her the former makeup artist, the former this, the former that, is also sort of like a brainwashing thing in itself. And like I said, the media is fucked up that way, They feel bad for somebody, but yet then they go and they say something to that extreme, making somebody read that and say, damn. By using the word former, you're meaning that it's no longer the case. I'm going to leave Naomi's Naomi's Instagram account in the information below if you want to follow her, support her as I do, and you will see how beautiful she really is as a person and how beautiful she still is, even with, even after this attack. So, Naomi, if you ever listen to this video, God bless you, and I hope that you find as much comfort as possible in knowing that you still are a gorgeous woman and that you can do anything that you put your mind to. All you need is the confidence to make it happen. And I thank you all for listening to this video. And